Hey guys, today we're doing another species spotlight and we are going to be talking about redfoot tortoises here. These are our two. This is the Todd, who's the big male, who came in not necessarily as a rescue, but like it was a really good opportunity and someone just didn't have the time or the room for him or the ability to take care of him, so we took him in. And then here is Betty, a girl who we got to eventually, maybe we'll try to breed him. We'll see how it goes down the road. But redfoot tortoises are super, super cool little guys. They have amazing personalities, they're very personable, and they get to be a pretty good sized tortoise. They come from South America, down kind of like in the, they have a pretty good range, but you know, there are a lot of the times in kind of like the, you know, like the flooded plains and stuff like that, where these guys are herbivorous, obviously, because they're tortoises, but because they come from South America, they have a lot more kind of high humidity needs, and so because of that, you need to take a little bit of forethought when it comes to if you decide you want to get one of these guys. So for a lot of tortoises, even like a sulcata, who get huge, they will need something that will not only provide them a large area for them to walk and move around in, because they are terrestrial tortoises, they need to move around, they like to move, they like to dig, but they also need kind of that high humidity. So if you live in a place where, you know, you can't kind of spray them down, give them a big like water dish for them to crawl into, you need to figure out something that you can do to kind of help give them a little bit more humidity. If that's not daily springs, you know, places for them to get into for fresh water and stuff like that. The other thing about these guys is that they can actually eat a little bit more fruit than really any other kind of tortoise around, at least readily. Again, that's because, you know, they live down in South America in those kind of like flooded basins where there's a lot of fruit that comes down and drops off of a lot of those fruit trees that'll kind of start to rot a little bit. And these guys are part of like the forest floor cleanup crew. Where were you going, Todd? That will kind of eat up a lot of that. So, you know, in addition to giving them fresh greens or prepared tortoise diets, a little bit more fruit than you would give to, say, like an eastern box turtle or a Greek or a Russian or even a sulcata, because they really can't have a lot of fruit because they can't really take a lot of that sugar. It's not as good for them. These guys can have a little bit more. They get to a pretty good size. There's a couple different varieties, like one's like a cherry head, to where like their heads are bright red instead of that kind of like orangey yellow color. There's cousins that are different I think it's subspecies. Someone can comment on that below. But I think there are different subspecies, and that's called the yellow-footed tortoise, to where instead of here, as you can see with the red on their things where like the sulcata spurs are, that's why they get the name the red-footed tortoise. And and she's just gonna keep pooping. They're the yellow instead of this kind of red. They get a little bit bigger. I think they come from an area of South America where it's not quite as rainy, not quite as humid. So they're a little bit more plains, kind of like tortoises, similar to the sulcatas and such. But anywho's will be, these guys are super awesome. I love them to death. They're really, really cool. You know, just remember they need a little bit more humidity than, you know, a box turtle or something like that. A large layer of substrate, like a lot of eco-earth or jungle soil or bioactive soil, because these things would be good for bioactive because they eat a lot, which means they poop a lot. So if you know you have a good supply, good cultures of springtails and isopods, I think that would be a pretty good little thing to have in a big tortoise area like this. We keep them in our large aviary here, which is it's 6 by 6. Actually, it's 7 by 6 by 4. And these guys live on the ground with a rhinoceros iguana and a little Russian tortoise because he was getting really rambunctious, and we put him in here with them, and they're doing pretty well. And then up on the top, there's the red and the axanthic blue iguana. So that's in a very large aviary, and so because it's covered and everything like that, the humidity we're able to keep up, and they coexist pretty well because naturally iguanas and redfoots kind of come from the same area. Their ranges even overlap a little bit naturally, you know, if we're not counting like the Florida iguanas. But hopefully you guys like this video. These guys are super cool. I love these tortoises. I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite type of tortoise, but redfoots are definitely up there. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you have any further questions about redfoot tortoises and stuff like that, not going to get super detailed into their care. They're just really cool. Just remember, if you are wanting to get one, give them plenty of room like you would a lot of other large tortoises, because these are considered large tortoises. And you just make sure you give them a good amount of humidity. Large water dish for them to get in and out of means a lot of cleaning. a lot of substrate to kind of hold in that humidity. They can dig a little bit, especially if you're planning on breeding. They need that substrate to dig into. I hope you guys like that. If you have any other questions, let me know down below. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Please like and subscribe if you can, and I'll check you next time.